the feeling like I'm trapped in my damn mind. Tell the feeling like I'm rapping a damn lie. Tell the feeling like my life is a damn game.
Hey, what's up, guys? Today, I'll show you a family fantasy film, Charlotte's Web. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins on a small farm in Maine. The young daughter of the farmer named Fern wakes up one night and eagerly rushes to the barn. She discovers that the mother sow has given birth to several piglets. However, there is one piglet that is much smaller and weaker than the rest. The farmer picks up the rut piglet, intending to kill it since the sow won't be able to feed it. But Fern stubbornly refuses to let her father kill the piglet. She steps up and says that she will be the one to feed and take care of the piglet. The farmer reluctantly agrees. Sure enough, Fern starts bottle feeding the piglet. She names him Wilbur. She grows so attached to Wilbur that she brings him to school one day. But her teacher catches Wilbur hiding underneath her desk and reprimands her. As the days pass and Wilbur grows bigger and stronger, Fern's parents notice how bonded she is to the piglet. The farmer tells her that she can no longer keep Wilbur in the house because he will be growing so big soon. As a concession, the farmer allows her to keep Wilbur in her uncle's barn across the road. Fern has no choice but to obey. She leaves Wilbur inside her uncle's barn, along with his other farm animals, and then she heads to school. But Wilbur is not used to being separated from Fern. He rears back and attempts to break out of the wooden fence enclosing him. After several tries, he escapes. He runs as fast as he can after Fern's school bus, but she doesn't notice him. The other barn animals, which consist of cows, sheep, horses, and geese, all watch Wilbur with interest. The uncle lures Wilbur back into the barn, and the pig decides that he will just wait for Fern there. Wilbur tries to make friends with his barnhouse companions. He invites the animals to play with him in the muddy puddles, but no one joins him. A rat scurries out of his hole and introduces himself to Wilbur. One night, while Wilbur is in bed, he hears the voice of a creature above him. It turns out there is a female spider named Charlotte living in that spot. The two of them quickly become friends despite their contrasting personalities. Meanwhile, Fern's mother is concerned about the girl's attachment to the pig. One night, she sends Fern straight to bed and forbids her from going to the barn. More time passes, and Wilbur grows more comfortable in his new home thanks to his friends. He witnesses the sheep's wool being sheared off, and they come back looking like completely different creatures. He's also delighted to see that the goose couple's eggs have finally hatched, and several new ducklings emerge. But one egg doesn't hatch, so the couple give it to the rat, who has a strange collection of things inside his hole. However, the egg starts rolling down his carved labyrinth. It gains momentum and almost crushes the rat, if not for the egg being caught by a rubber band. At that moment, Fern and her brother are playing in the barn. The brother glimpses Charlotte and announces that he will catch the spider. He traps Charlotte in a jar, and Fern runs to stop him. Wilbur also angrily bites his shoelaces and tugs him away from Charlotte. They tussle on the ground, and the movement causes the egg to roll and then break inside the rat's hole. The emanating rotten smell distracts the brother, and he and Fern run from the barn. The rat proudly proclaims that it's he that saved Charlotte. Charlotte rebuts him by jokingly saying that it was Wilbur who saved her. The rat then reveals that pigs like Wilbur don't survive to see Christmas because they will get slaughtered for meat. When winter comes, the uncle will come and take Wilbur to the smokehouse, and he will never get out alive and be made into bacon and sausages. Wilbur is astounded by this revelation, and he fears for his destiny. Charlotte comforts him and promises that she will never let him die, and he will live to see the snow. Meanwhile, Fern's mother is even more concerned because the girl's friends are only barn animals. She would rather spend time with them than with actual humans. She even claims that she can talk to them. The mother consults with a doctor regarding this predicament, but the doctor assures her that it's just a childhood phase. One night, Wilbur asks Charlotte if she has an idea yet on how she will keep him alive. Charlotte replies that she hasn't yet, but the idea will come to her like a web. While Wilbur is asleep, one of the strands of Charlotte's web breaks. The sight of the broken strand hanging in midair inspires her. She finally has an idea of how she will save Wilbur. Then, Charlotte works all night designing her new web. When morning comes, the farmhand comes into the barn to feed the animals, but he gets so shocked by what he sees that he drops his bucket and runs to the house to get Fern's aunt and uncle. Fern sees the commotion and runs toward the barn house too. All the humans finally see Charlotte's creation. She had written using her web the words, "Some pig." The aunt and uncle proclaim this to be a miracle. They even go to a minister and show him the miracle web. The minister immediately orders them not to speak to anyone about the web until he has addressed it in his sermon that week. But the aunt and uncle couldn't keep their mouths shut. They excitedly tell their friends and neighbors to stop by their barn. Word quickly spreads through the town, and the people flock to the uncle's farm to see the web for themselves. Wilbur poses for a picture, and the crowd is delighted by him. Several reporters are also present, and they publish the story in their newspapers. Charlotte decides to create more spiderwebs for Wilbur. She asks him for a word that would describe who he is. As the 4th of July fireworks danced in the sky, Charlotte spins the word terrific. Just like before, people go to the barn to see the new word. Wilbur becomes even more popular, and people wonder how a spider could know and spell the word terrific. For the third word, Charlotte and the other animals task the rat with finding a new word, since he is always bringing in trash from the outside. One night, Fern gets into an argument with her father. She had heard her uncle planning to butcher Wilbur. She is angry because she thought her uncle will take care of Wilbur forever. The farmer interjects that this is just what naturally happens to pigs on a farm, but Fern is resolved to save Wilbur. While in school, Fern sees a flyer advertising the local town fair, where livestock can be entered in a competition. She gets the idea of entering Wilbur in that contest. The rat ventures inside a dump site to look for a new word. However, 2 crows spot him from above and swoop down to attack him. The rat sneaks through the dump site to hide from them. The 2 crows end up being doused by pink paint, while the rat runs away carrying the piece of paper with the word radiant printed on it. The third word generates much fanfare again. Wilbur even does a somersault while photographers take his picture. The uncle's farm even profits from his popularity by being a tourist destination and selling their berries to the guests. Fern convinces her uncle to enter Wilbur into the competition at the fair. Wilbur asks Charlotte to come with him, but she reveals that she is pregnant and too tired to travel. The morning of the fair comes, and the aunt is so excited that she bathes Wilbur in buttermilk to make him look pretty. However, Charlotte overhears the uncle saying that if Wilbur loses the contest, he can just sell his meat anyway for compensation. This worries Charlotte, and she enlists the rat's help in getting into the truck so she can be with Wilbur. She intends to perform one more miracle so that Wilbur can win the contest. Wilbur himself also faints when he hears the uncle's words, but he feels better when he sees that Charlotte will be coming with him. When they get to the fair, they discover that Wilbur's competition is an older and bigger pig. While Fern has fun wearing a dress and meeting a boy classmate, her mother notices their interaction, and she is shocked to realize that her little girl is growing up. That night, Charlotte spins the word humble above Wilbur's pen. But when Fern and her family arrive there in the morning, they see that the blue ribbon has been awarded to Wilbur's competitor. They are all disappointed, and Fern cries at the prospect of losing Wilbur. But Charlotte's new word draws the attention of the crowd. The fair organizers decide to award Wilbur a medal as a token of their amazement and appreciation for Wilbur and his miracle. The uncle makes a speech and praises how Wilbur has taught them all to look at everyday things for miracles. His heart was completely stolen by the enthusiastic pig, and he admits that life on the farm is better because of Wilbur. It is now apparent that Wilbur will not be slaughtered, and he will be loved and cared for forever. Wilbur happily watches as Fern and her classmate ride the Ferris wheel. He is filled with so much joy. However, it dawns on him that Charlotte is sick. She reveals that she has laid an egg sack filled with her offspring, but she is dying, and she will not make it back to the barn. Wilbur tearfully says goodbye to her. He thanks her for everything she has done to save his life. But Charlotte says that what she did was no miracle. She was only describing all the good things she saw in Wilbur. The uncle gets the truck ready so they can leave. Wilbur urgently begs the rat to help him get Charlotte's egg sack. The rat reluctantly does so. He climbs up and takes the egg sack. Wilbur then puts the egg sack in his mouth so he can carry Charlotte's children back to the barn with him. When they get home, the animals all reel at the loss of Charlotte. They bow down and share a moment of silence in her memory. From then on, Charlotte's legacy endures, and everyone treats each other with patience and kindness. As she promised, Wilbur gets to see winter and the snow. All the animals help out in guarding and warming the egg sack. And when spring comes, Charlotte's egg sack hatches, and hundreds of tiny spiders emerge. The little spiders all happily rejoice and spread out of the barn to celebrate their new life. Wilbur is sad to see them all go. But it turns out 3 little spiders decide to stay behind at the barn. The movie ends with Wilbur telling them more about their spider mother. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.